On this version of Earth, there's a red line that connects people who have been naughty together. These lines are invisible to everyone except Yoon-heup. One morning, she hears noises and opens her window to look outside. There's a man with lots of lines above his head trying to get a teenage girl with just one line into his car, but the girl is angry and runs away. There's another woman with many lines. When this woman tries to say hi to Yoon-heup, she quickly closes the window again. Yoon-heup watches TV with dark sunglasses on because she can see the lines even on the actors. She thinks humans shouldn't see some things and says she's seen the lines since birth. When she was a kid, she didn't know what they were and added them to her drawings. It drove her mother so crazy that she killed her father. As a teen, Yoon-heup finally understood what the red lines meant and how dangerous that knowledge was. She tried to end herself in many ways, but her wounds always healed fast. Since then, she's been studying the lines to understand who made them and why she can see them. She lives an introverted life inside an apartment with windows covered in cardboard. When a new neighbor rings the bell with a gift, Yoon-heup doesn't answer and waits until the woman leaves to grab the bag. Meanwhile, Detective Ji-wook starts his day at the station. He complains about taking care of his niece and laughs when a coworker tells him to get married. During a break, Ji-wook and a female coworker sneak into the archive to be naughty, but she kills the mood when she invites him to her wedding. At Ark High School, Ji-wook's niece, Sun A, is being bullied and beaten by other girls. Hee-young holds her down with a mop and scolds her for not bringing money. She also asks if Sun reported them, but Sun swears she didn't. Angry Hee-young doesn't believe her and throws her around, noticing that Sun is smiling for some reason. Then, Hee-young holds her by the edge and threatens to kill her if she reports them again. Later, Ji-wook investigates the murder of a single woman in a small apartment. A neighbor says they saw a man with a helmet come in, but thought it was a delivery guy. There are no signs of abuse, and nothing was stolen, so the cops don't understand the motive. That night, Yoon-heup gets another fruit gift from her neighbor. She eats while watching the news and learns the murdered woman is the second victim in the area. In the background, she sees a man with a helmet entering the building and notices he only has one line, which is very rare in adults. Moments later, Yoon-heup hears a bike outside and looks out the window to see the helmet man entering the next building. Thinking he's the killer, Yoon-heup grabs her phone and calls the cops, but the neighbor greets him warmly, and a red line appears as they start being naughty. The next day, Sun skips school. Her harassers break into her locker and find an embarrassing note. At home, Sun asks Ji-wook for money without explaining why. Ji-wook becomes suspicious when he notices bruises on her body, but she refuses to explain. He goes out to the balcony to smoke and sees the apartment across the street is covered with cardboard. At that moment, his coworker calls to tell him that someone reported a man in a helmet the night before, but the caller hung up. The police track the call, and Ji-wook realizes the address is the cardboard-covered apartment. He immediately visits the apartment. When Yoon-heup uses her peephole, she sees that he has hundreds of lines. She refuses to open the door or talk, but a neighbor passes by and tells Ji-wook that Yoon-heup is a recluse who won't talk to anyone. Refusing to give up, Ji-wook knocks again and explains that he is there to discuss the murder, which makes Yoon-heup open the door. She explains that she mistook a random man for the killer and immediately closes the door again. That night, a helmet-wearing man with just one line enters the building. Yoon-heup hears the noise and sees him through her peephole, which she quickly covers when he turns around. Meanwhile, Sun gets texts from Hye-young asking for more money. Desperate, she sits outside a bank and waits for a woman to leave the ATM. She follows her through an alley and tries to steal her bag, but a group of men passes by, forcing her to stop. At the police station, Ji-wook and his coworker, Dong-sik, piece together clues and realize that both victims knew a man named Young-men. Looking at his picture, Ji-wook realizes he is the same guy who told him about Yoon-heup. He wants to go investigate, but an important call comes in. Ji-wook rushes to the nursing home and finds his mentally ill father on the roof. He doesn't dare say anything and lets the nurses pull him away from the edge. Meanwhile, Dong-sik goes to the building to investigate. The door to Jung-min's place is open, so he goes inside. He looks around and finds a room with strange things that unnerve him. Dong-sik calls Ji-wook to tell him he's found something, but before he can explain, someone attacks him from the shadows, and the call ends. Young-min beats up Dong-sik and restrains him. Then he puts on his helmet and glasses while saying, "There's only one left." Yoon-heup hears a noise and runs to her window to see the helmet man across the street. She tries calling the police, but her phone's battery is dead. Noticing that the man is going to his lover's place, Hyun-heup grabs a knife and puts on her sunglasses before finally leaving the apartment. The process is terrifying, and her legs shake as she goes outside. The fear becomes so overwhelming that she passes out on the street and dreams about her mother. In the neighbor's place, young Min takes off his helmet and looks at the lines above the woman's head. He throws her on the couch and starts choking her, saying that this is how everyone can be saved. At that moment, Hyun-heup shows up and asks him to stop. But young Min easily takes the knife from her and stabs her while mocking her. Then he goes back to choking the woman, who hits him with a pillow, making him drop his glasses. He desperately looks for them. When Ji-wook comes home, he finds Hyun-heup's sunglasses on the street. He rushes into the building. Her apartment is open, and Ji-wook finds her looking at the investigation board about the red lines. He then hears a scream and looks out the window to see young Min attacking the neighbor again. Ji-wook pulls out his gun as Hyun-heup crawls toward young Min to stab him in the leg. Young Min takes the knife and is about to stab her back, but Ji-wook shoots him down from across the street. As he dies, young Min is happy to see the lines disappearing. While the paramedics are taking care of Hyun-heup, she remembers young Min's last words and his desperation to find the glasses. She wonders if the glasses made him see the lines. Ji-wook tries talking to her, but is interrupted when Sun comes home and recognizes her. Later, Sun tells Ji-wook that she went to middle school with Hyun-heup and shares the story of how Hyun-heup's mother killed her father before running away. Meanwhile, Hyun-heup realizes that for the first time, seeing the lines has helped someone. She then gets a message from a blocked number saying that they can see what she sees and that she should go to Ark High School. The next morning, Hyun-heup can't stop staring at the text and decides to finally get her life together. She removes all the cardboard from the windows and tidies up the apartment. At school, Sun enters the classroom and discovers her harassers have made a mocking drawing of her on the board. Hayoung starts reading the love note she stole from Sun's locker, causing Sun to jump on her to retrieve it. The girls fight on the floor until their teacher, Kyu-jin, enters the classroom and pulls Hayoung away. She then takes the note and rips it up. After class, Sun is ready to go home, but stops on her way out when she finds a pair of glasses in her locker.
Meanwhile, Ji-wook still thinks there's something off about the case and visits Young Min's apartment to look for clues. At first, it looks like the walls are painted red, but they are actually covered with millions of drawn lines. At home, Sun puts on the glasses and can now see one line above her head. When Ji-wook arrives, Sun screams at the hundreds of lines she sees on him. She runs out of the building, and as she wanders the streets, can now see lines above everyone's heads. In the morning, Ji-wook tries to take Sun A to school, but she is disgusted by his lines and walks away, confirming that they were the fighting people at the beginning of the story. At school, Sun pays attention to the lines and notices that Quinn has never been with anybody. She is also shocked to discover that her teacher, Sung-jin, is connected to Hayoung. During class, Sun is shocked again when Hyun-heup is introduced as the new transfer student. Still on the case, Ji-wook notices that Young Min is wearing glasses in a picture, but they're not in the evidence box. He then goes to the school and asks Kyu-jin about Young Min, since he used to teach there until last year. Kyu-jin says that she never saw him wear glasses. On the roof, Hayoung slaps Sun. When she's about to do it again, Sun stops her and announces she won't pay her anymore. Hayoung kicks her down, but before she can do more, Hyun-heup tells her to stop. Hayoung then threatens her by pushing her toward the edge, only for Hyun-heup to grab her in return and try to bring her down too. Hyun-heup only lets go after telling Hayoung to never bother them again. The harassers leave, but Sun is not happy and tells Hyun-heup not to intervene. That night, Ji-wook goes to a bar that Jung Min used to frequent to interrogate the bartender. He learns that Young Min used to drink alone in silence, but eventually started talking to himself a lot, even though he was sober. The bartender heard him counting something and always saw him wear glasses. Meanwhile, Sun follows Hayoung, who secretly meets with Sung-jin. Sun takes a picture of them as they enter a hotel and sends it to Hayoung. However, the girl replies that if this goes public, only the teacher will get in trouble because she is a minor. The next morning, Sung-jin gets a text with the picture and a blackmail note requesting 20 million in cash. He asks Hayoung about it, and she tells him that Sun is behind it. When he returns to his desk, he finds pictures of all his affairs. Feeling more confident now that she has power, Sun makes more friends at school and even starts seeing Ha-young's boyfriend, Chi, after he breaks up with her. In the bathroom, Hyun-heup notices that Sun's glasses match Young Min's and admits she can see the lines. Sun explains that the glasses let her see them too, and how she found them. Hyun-heup tries to warn her about the dangers of the glasses and tells her that the last owner died. But Sun doesn't care. She asks how to get rid of a line, so Hyun-heup tells her that the other person must die. In the evening, Sun is with Chi-won, but she's interrupted by a text from Sun-jin saying he has the money. They leave the hotel and go to the mall, unaware that Hae-young is following them. It turns out she was in a bathroom stall and heard their conversation about the glasses. Sun drops her bag while she is taking pictures with her boyfriend, so Hae-young takes the chance to steal the glasses. She goes around town looking at all the lines until somebody attacks her. Sun notices that the glasses are missing and calls Hyun-heup thinking she took them. However, she can't talk much because she is late for her meeting. She rushes to the school and meets with Sung-jin on the roof. He begs for mercy since he has a family, but Sun reminds him that he knew the other girls harassed her and did nothing. Then Sung-jin tries to apologize, but he's interrupted by a text from his wife, who has received the pictures and is furious. Sun is surprised because she didn't send them, but Sung-jin doesn't believe her. At that moment, Hyun-heup arrives at the school and watches Sun fall from the roof, passing out when she hits the ground. Moments later, doctors at the hospital try to save Sun. Ji-wook arrives and finds Hyun-heup, who tells him she doesn't think it was Sun's suicide attempt. The next day, Hyun-heup notices that Hae-young hasn't come to school. The other teachers see that Sung-jin hasn't come to work either. Things are tense after Sun's incident, and an argument ensues over teachers' responsibilities when it comes to taking care of their students. After everyone calms down, Jung-woo announces he is not planning to get married anymore. Hyun-heup goes to visit Sun-ae, who is on a respirator, but Ji-wook is there too, so she leaves without saying hello. At school, she sees Jin-sun wearing familiar glasses and takes them from him, but they are normal. Meanwhile, Jung-woo finds the magic glasses at his desk and tries them on. He sees the lines on the teachers' heads and freaks out when Ji-wook comes in with his hundreds. Ji-wook talks to Kyu-jin in private to ask for any useful information and learns that Hae-young did not attend school today. Next, Ji-wook talks to Chi, who doesn't seem upset or worried. Chi-won says he didn't have a real relationship with Sun-ae, and that she left their date when she noticed something was missing. Later, Ji-wook checks the security footage at the mall and sees Hae-young taking the bag. He wants to keep investigating, but his boss closes the case as a suicide. Back to Jung-woo, he shows up at his sister Kyung-mi's house to spend the week before he moves to Canada. During dinner, he explains he broke up with his fiancée because she cheated on him. Thanks to the glasses, he realizes that his brother-in-law, Byung-cha, is a cheater too. The next day, Jung-woo notices connections between teachers. He asks Kyu-jin what she would do if she knew someone close to her was being cheated on. She tells him to be certain before saying anything, but that she'd also want to watch the drama. When Jung-woo goes home, he finds a neighbor's package that has been delivered to their door, so he volunteers to take it to the right apartment. He doesn't dare to ring the bell, but he does see the neighbor with dozens of lines above her head. Later, Jung-woo and Kyung-mi honor the day of their mother's death. Jung-woo is annoyed because his brother-in-law, Bong-chol, didn't come, using a business trip as an excuse. The following day, a picture of Hae-young and Sung-jin starts circulating the school, and Jung-woo sees the lines. In a parking lot, the police have found Sung-jin's body. A letter says he died by suicide because his affair was exposed, but Ji-wook looks at the evidence and notices that the body was moved after death. Afterward, Ji-wook picks up Hyun-heup at school to try to get more information. Hyun-heup tells him to find the glasses and promises to explain everything if he does. In the afternoon, Jung-woo sees Byung-chol in the car, confirming that the trip was a lie. He follows him in a cab and finds him having dinner with a woman who is showering him with gifts. Jung-woo calls him to make him leave the table, and while Byung-chol is distracted, Jung-woo walks by the table to look at the room key. Moments later, at the hotel, Jung-woo pretends to be room service to make Byung-chol open the door. He pushes him against the wall to confront him about the affair, and Byung-chol agrees to end it, but he asks for some time to take care of things. The next day, Jung-woo gets his things ready to leave the country, but Jung-chol still hasn't called his wife, and that worries him. Jung-woo searches for the other woman on Instagram and discovers that she is pregnant. A furious Jung-woo takes a cab home while trying to call Kyung-mi, who won't pick up. Outside the apartment, he finds Kyung-mi crashing her car into the pregnant woman's vehicle. She comes out and asks her brother why he ruined everything. Then Jung-chul arrives and comforts the other woman first. Jung-woo punches him and almost gets into a fight, but Kyung-mi stops him and reveals the truth. It turns out the pregnant woman is Byung-chul's real wife, and Kyung-mi has been the secret lover all along. However, Jung-chul ended things with Kyung-mi after Jung-woo scolded him, which is why she reacted like this. Meanwhile, Jok searches Sun's room and finds a notebook. Nearby, Yoon-heup sees that a hotel is looking for employees and takes a picture of the ad. After she's gone, someone rips the ad off. When Yoon-heup gets home, Jok shows her the red lines drawn in the notebook, so she finally tells him everything. The next morning, the glasses are being worn by school secretary Mi-sung, who is always being yelled at by her superiors and whose dream is to be an actress. During the weekend, she likes dressing up with a wig. At the local hotel, Yoon-heup is working as a receptionist. Her new friends from school come to visit her right before Mi-sung arrives to rent a room. Even with the wig, the teens recognize her. Alone in the room, Mi-sung practices her acting by pretending to be a femme fatale. Later, when she leaves, Yoon-heup notices that Mi-sung is one line. At the station, Jok and Dong-sik are still investigating the case behind their boss's back. Jok also checks Yoon-heup's file and learns that her mother killed her father because he had been having an affair, which she learned about from the red lines on Yoon-heup's drawings. Later at the hospital, Jok asks Yoon-heup if Sun has any red lines. So Yoon-heup explains she has one, but it isn't connected to anyone from school. That night, Yoon-heup watches the news and learns about a killer who was arrested by the police. The guy appears to be wearing the special glasses. The next day, Jung invites her to hang out. They sneak into the swimming pool, and Yoon-heup jumps in with her clothes on. Jung-sung follows her, and they both laugh. Feeling comfortable around him, Yoon-heup decides to tell him about the lines she sees. He believes her because she has no reason to lie.
The next time Mi-sung goes to the hotel, she doesn't act while talking about finding the glasses and how she followed the lines to discover that her crush has a lover who has many lines. Unlike the man who only has one line with her, she has made a hole in the wall. And every time the couple meets in the hotel, Mi-sung spies on them. Tired of that woman manipulating her crush, Mi-sung pays to extend her stay in the hotel and makes a plan. The next day, the woman comes again, and Mi-sung knocks her out with a fire extinguisher. Then she ties her up and steals her clothes. She puts them on to meet with her crush, who immediately recognizes her from work. Mi-sung gets close as she repeats her lines. But the man isn't interested and tries to leave.
She throws a stapler at his back and he suddenly collapses.
Mi-sung puts the body on the bed and kisses him while revealing that she put a sedative in his water. At that moment, his head starts bleeding and Mi-sung realizes he is dying. So she climbs on top of him and pretends they're having sex to fulfill her fantasy. He dies and his line disappears while Mi-sung reaches her peak. Afterward, she sits in the tub with a stapler. Staples end up all over her legs, arms, and even her face. In the hallway, Yoon-heup sees the restrained woman leaving the room and rushes inside to find the man's body. Soon the police arrive, and Ji-wook finds Mi-sung dead in the tub, but the glasses are gone. Once the team has taken all the evidence, Ji-wook drains the tub and finally finds the glasses. When he puts them on, he sees all the lines above his head. At the police station, Ji-wook finds out about the affairs among employees. When Gina walks by, he's distressed by how many lines she has. Afterward, Ji-wook brings Chi to the hospital and confirms that Soon's line isn't connected to him. He asks about her previous boyfriends, and Chi explains he has never seen her with anyone, but she talked a lot about a guy she hated. That night, Yoon-heup gets a text from an unknown number inviting her to a party for her birthday. The next morning at school, Yoon-heup notices that Ja is unusually shy and has a bunch of lines. At the station, Dong-sik asks Ji-wook for help with an assault case. It turns out that Gina came the day before to report a guy named Hanu who took advantage of her. She said this was her first time having a sexual experience. But while watching the video of the report, Ji-wook sees other lines. Dong-sik and Ji-wook go to the school to investigate, and once again, Ji-wook is upset by seeing so many teens with lines. When they bump into Quinn, he is surprised to see she has no lines at all. They go looking for Hanu, and Ji-wook sees one line above his head. Hanu confirms that he went drinking with Ja, but says he never touched her and is not interested in her like that at all. When Ji-wook leaves the school, Hyun-heup sees him wearing the glasses. She wants to take them from him, but he refuses because they may help him solve crimes. Their argument is interrupted by Quinn, who causes Hyun-heup to walk off. Ji-wook tries asking her out, but she's confused, so he takes it back. While he leaves, Quinn smiles because she can see all his lines. Afterward, the detectives visit an entertainment company where both Ji-na and Hanu used to work. A boss explains he let Ja go for not working hard enough, and that she is the ringleader in getting other kids to drink. Later, the detectives call both teens to the station to ask extra questions. Ji-wook leaves the door open and notices that Hanu and Ja's lines aren't connected. That night, Ji-wook gives Hyun-heup the picture of her mother that he found in her case file. He also explains how the glasses have helped an innocent man from going to jail. Hyun-heup surprises him by telling him that Ja didn't have any lines until last week. The detectives rush to Hanu's apartment and notice he keeps everything extra clean. Hanu answers a few questions before kicking them out. Then Ji-wook drags Dong-sik to the building's trash bins, saying that Hanu's mismatched sheets were suspicious. As predicted, they find a bag with bloody sheets and send them to the forensic team. Meanwhile, Hyun-heup breaks into the hotel while wondering why the glasses keep appearing at her school and workplace. At that moment, Jun-sun appears, explaining he saw her on the street and followed her in. They share a sweet moment and end up kissing while Hyun-heup looks in the mirror, which shows neither of them has lines. The next day, Hanu is dragged out of class and taken to the police station, where the detectives ask him why Ji-na's blood was on the sheets. Hanu says it must have been her period. Then the cops check the security cameras near Hanu's building and see a group of friends walk by. When they come back, all of them have an extra line. At school, Hyun-heup sees the same 4 guys and notices that they all have a line connecting them to Ji-na.
Jackally. She tries to call Ji-wook, but he is already there, confirming the same thing. The 4 boys are taken to the station, and Ji-wook waits for the one with only 1 line to start crying. He pretends he will take him home and gets him in the car, only to take him to Hanu's place instead. The boy tries running away, but the detectives easily catch him again. This causes him to finally break and confess everything. Hanu sedated Ji-na and brought the 4 guys to his apartment so they would have sex with her while he watched. After this confession, the other 3 teens also confess and always blame Hanu for forcing them to do it. Ji-wook now has a legal reason to search Hanu's apartment and finds the sedative, but Hanu says he still can't prove he did it. That night, Ji-wook gets a call from the nursing home and rushes there to discover that a mysterious woman has kidnapped his father. Looking at the camera footage, Ji-wook realizes it's Kyu-jin. At that moment, he gets an anonymous text with a picture of Sune, so he drives very fast to the hospital. Sune is fine, however, her line is bending. At that moment, his father enters the room, and Ji-wook is devastated to discover that Sune's line connects to him. He immediately pulls the man back and gets ready to beat him up, but he can't bring himself to do it and has a breakdown. Meanwhile, barista Jun-hui is shocked to receive a video of her intimate moments. When she goes to her college class, everyone keeps staring at her. A text from a friend confirms that many people have received that video. Jun-hui goes home to cry, while her lover threatens her for supposedly spreading the recording. Later, after work, she walks outside intending to die by suicide. However, Quinn stops her and gives her the glasses. At the bus stop, Hyun-heup waits for Jun-sun, who wishes her a happy birthday in advance. Hyun-heup asks him for a favor, and they go to a hotel. They have sex for the first time, and now a red line connects them. After they're done, Jun-sun goes to the nearest bakery to get a birthday cake. While waiting for him, Hyun-heup hears some screaming and watches her line disappear. She follows a crowd and is devastated to discover Jun-sun, who has been killed by metal rods that fell from a construction site. After touching his blood, Hyun-heup thinks this confirms she is cursed, and everyone too close to her will die. Hyun-heup runs to cry in private and receives a video of her best friend Kyung-jin tied to a chair with a text inviting her to the room of boundaries. Then she calls Ji-wook to ask for his help. When he arrives, he shares what happened with Sune and his father. In return, Hyun-heup tells him she receives a birthday card every year, but she doesn't know who sends them. Apparently, this person has been counting down her birthdays, and today she must do something for her 17th. Ji-wook looks at the texts and wonders if Quinn is behind this too. He has run a background check on her, but couldn't find her anywhere, as if she didn't exist. The duo goes to the school and notices one classroom with the lights on. They run inside, and she enters the classroom first. But when he follows her, he finds the room empty. Hyun-heup has found Kyung-jin and immediately frees her. Then the girls take the stairs, but no matter how many steps they take, they keep coming back to the same floor. They hear Ji-wook looking for them on the roof and head there too.
However, the girls reach the actual roof while Ji-wook has entered a strange room. There are a bunch of people there, including Junhui, who says she is very lucky to have met Kyujin. A flashback reveals that Kyujin gave her the glasses while teaching her that to get rid of her lines, she must kill her lovers. Junhui put on the glasses and spent the night killing the men she had sex with. She only has one line left, and the man is now in the room too. When Junhui chops his head off, millions of red lines appear behind her. They are all connected to Quinn, who makes them disappear before uncovering a table to reveal Ji-wook's father. He runs to untie him only for Quinn to hand him a knife while asking him to save Sun-ae. Ji-wook tries attacking her instead, but she easily blocks him and takes back the knife, which she uses to kill the old man. A furious Ji-wook opens fire, however, the bullets disappear into a force field, and Kyujin grabs him by the neck. On the roof, Hyun-heup tries to tell Kyunjin about the lines, only for Kyunjin to turn around with the glasses on. She says that Kyujin explained to her that the red lines are visible without the glasses if she dies. Suddenly, Kyunjin jumps on Hyun-heup and tries to choke her, so Hyun-heup takes her glasses off and steps on them to break them. Then Kyunjin calms down and has no idea where she is. But she notices that Hyun-heup's eyes have changed color. To her shock, the wound on her cheek isn't closing, and drops of blood float away from it. Hyun-heup blinks and finds herself in the alternate room. She yells at Quinn to stop, so the woman throws Ji-wook away. Quinn says that seeing the lines is a blessing. While the crowd removes their glasses and surrounds them in a circle, then Quinn raises a sword and tries to slash Hyun-heup. However, her mother jumps in to act as a shield. As she collapses, the mother apologizes to Hyun-heup for making her believe it was her drawing's fault. She actually had the glasses too, and that's why she killed her husband. A furious Hyun-heup tries to attack Kyujin, who easily stabs her with a sword. Her blood starts floating up, so Quinn raises her body too, and makes a bunch of red lines burst out of her. These lines connect to a huge red ball made of lines, while Quinn explains that Hyun-heup's death will give the seeing gift to all humanity. Once the ball is big enough, Hyun-heup collapses.
Kyujin tries to control the ball, which begins to glow until it explodes. The crowd gasps as the lines start covering the whole world. Hyun-heup uses the distraction to slash Kyujin's face and stab her chest. However, Quinn says it's too late before falling dead. Then the crowd snaps out of their trance, not understanding what is happening. Everyone screams and runs around in a panic. They bump into Ji-wook and make him drop his glasses. With another blink, Ji-wook, Hyun-heup, and Kyungjin appear on the normal roof, but the ceiling is still red. Ji-wook tries to grab the glasses, but the girls stop him, and the glasses fall off the building. On the streets, all the citizens are freaking out, because everyone can see the lines now. Sometime later, everyone on the train is wearing shades to avoid seeing the lines, and Hyun-heup finally feels normal. Soon has woken up from her coma without her line. Hyun-heup visits Jun-sun's grave and hears someone calling her name. It turns out to be Kyujin. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.